Greetings, programs. Welcome to Stegosaurus Studios. I'm Mike. We're out here in the shop. I've got a little cheat sheet of all the things that I want to talk about in this episode. This is episode 24. So if I'm looking over here at this piece of paper, that's why. I'm just going to cut quickly to a couple, I think 3 little snippets of video. And then we're going to come back and talk about the little snippets and what they mean, and then status. Oh, I forgot to say, it is the Wednesday before Maker Faire. Maker Faire, it's Wednesday. Maker Faire starts on Friday. So he's ready, I guess. I have no idea how he's going to perform. Basically, well, you'll see in a bit kind of the status of him. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, come back after the little snippets of video, and I'll explain what's going on. Here we are on the Stegosaurus Raceway testing crab drive. Okay, just a quick one, a couple of little details. So I had been using these printed blocks for to lock the wheels or prevent the wheels from moving backwards when I was pushing it. They work fine, but only if you're pushing it forwards. If you push it backwards, it doesn't work because the wheels can move this direction. They can move either direction. So change to something different. This is just it's a tiny little block. It interfaces, it's got the ridge that interfaces with the extrusion, and it it does. It slides onto the rack, and I bought thumb screws, these things, hand wheels, so that they can be easily put on and off. So got 4 of them that lock the rack in place, and that actually works really good. Now, was planning on doing the same thing for the front. So in this case, this end here interfaces with the channel, the side channel on the inside, and then this presses up against the wheel bracket and prevents it from turning. Unfortunately, I made this too long, so I need to redo it and then reprint it. So I came out to put these in and test them, and they don't fit. So yeah, that's it. Just a quick couple of improvements. That's it. Okay, dummy. Show me what you got. Hey, buddy. You're driving. That's awesome. Okay, so thanks for watching those vids. I'm back. Not in the shop anymore. Actually, you saw this a little bit in one of those little snippets of video. We're in Dummy's new home, which is otherwise known as the garage. So he had been living out in the backyard on the barbecue island under a sheet, which it was getting to the point where it was a little too much time, effort, and expense sitting out there exposed like that. So we've got this, it's actually a lift that I installed to put him up above the car. So this is his new home. So I know it kind of looks like I'm up against a wall for a mugshot here. Not a very interesting backdrop, but and it's not the greatest place to record video. Neighbor's kind of messing with his fence over there, so hopefully the microphone doesn't pick up like the sounds of the drill and other stuff that he's using over there. So, all right. So in the last episode 23, I said that dummy was done, pretty much done for Maker Faire, and just the driving test. Well, clearly, I got more done, as you saw, with him holding onto the steering wheel. So basically, as after that episode, I was continuing to work, and was working on the steering column design, and I kind of realized I had enough time to, I thought, and I did, to put the steering column in. So we'll go over that design here in a minute. And then, of course, I needed to operate a servo to turn the steering wheel, and I was like, well, I have time to go ahead and do the full implementation of the Kyber system, and so it just kind of snowballed. And then Travis made those brackets that he had promised and got them to me. So, like 3 days ago, I literally had the entire front end of this thing completely disassembled again. And I was starting to feel a lot of pressure, but it's back together, it's driving. It's not great, and we'll kind of get into that. But so anyway, I got a lot more done than I said I was going to in the last episode. So and that's a good thing. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and just go over the steering column. So here we've got dummy, and he got his hand. It's bolted to the steering wheel. Right now, with the power off, the steering wheel, the weight of his hand drops the steering wheel down to one side. If I turn the power on, it would go horizontal. It would, so, but right now it's that way. So this just goes to a wooden dowel. It goes through a couple of bearings here and here, and then it's going to be hard to see, but there's a little Reefs servo back here that basically it turns that wooden dowel, which then of course turns the steering wheel. So dummy's not actually driving. Don't tell him that. But it makes it look like he's driving. So and it's a pretty nice effect. Basically, it's just tied to the front steering wheel. So it just turns. If he's turning left, it turns the steering wheel left. If he's turning right, it turns it right. So it's just another mix in the Kyber, or not the Kyber, the Far Sky transmitter. So that's how that is set up. So let's see. I talked about the air springs. So this is the front air spring here, and again, this is going to be really hard to show. But we had those big metal aluminum blocks that were in here. It's now just a U bracket, which gives a lot more space for. And of course, there goes the skill saw. Hopefully, you guys can't hear that, but so it gives a lot more space for the air fittings. That being said, they're still continuing to leak a little bit. And honestly, if you think about it, if you've ever owned a bike, and I'm an avid cyclist, bike tires leak over time. Right over time, your tires go flat. This is no different. These air springs are going to lose air pressure over time, and I'm going to put this back down so you can see me here. So if you think about this little air spring, that amount of air is probably only, like that much air. And if you lose a little bit of it, like if you lost this much air out of your car tire, you would just keep driving. You wouldn't even really notice. But you lose this much air out of the air spring, you basically lost it all, right? So when it loses pressure in any of these air springs, this guy with the skill saw is driving me freaking crazy here. When you lose air in the air springs, it equates to a pretty big drop in the ground clearance. So So a couple of things after experimenting with these air springs, getting the brackets back in, getting them all completely installed. It basically put the nail in the coffin for adjusting pressure on the fly. That's not going to happen. But I think what I am going to do, because of this leaking, I could pump up one of these springs, and within a day or two, the skid is the speeder is noticeably listing. I'm going to go ahead and install. I'm going to buy a little, basically a pressure tank from an air paint gun. I'm going to go ahead and install it. I left space for it, and I'm going to pipe it up to, I think, all 3 air springs. I got to figure out a routing, because it'll be in the back, and we'll have to somehow route it all the way to the front, but definitely to the 2 back springs. And basically just put a regulator on that, and just keep the air pressure constant at a set pressure all the time. So the tank will basically just be feeding the air springs to keep them at a set level all the time. Because I got to tell you, with that bike pump, which is how I'm doing it right now, it's kind of finicky to get them set up correctly. So I think that's the direction that I'm going to go. A couple of other things which are you wouldn't notice, they're kind of cosmetic, but we're causing a real big problem. And again, we're going to move here. So this is the front wheel, right? This is the wheel. The shaft goes down to the wheel, which is down there. And then it's a trailing arm assembly, right? So you've got these 2 members there, and then 2 on the other side. And it's supposed to go up and down square. It's supposed to be square to the frame. Yes, it's a little off. But let me explain what was happening. This bottom connection, so these pivots here, there's just basically 2 screws with T-nuts that hold them, and again 2 on the other side. They pinch into the extrusion until, for example, like one of these grooves here, they pinch and they hold it in place. But there was so much torque being exerted, particularly on this bottom, that this was pulling out. And I could crank those things down as hard as I could, and they were still pulling out. And then the unfortunate side effect of cranking them so tight was they weren't pivoting anymore. It was really hard to get them to pivot. So basically, and again, you're not going to be able to really notice this. Well, you can sort of see that this one has a washer on it and these ones don't. What I did was where at the ends, these connections here and here at the ends, I drilled through the extrusion. So this is a bolt, and this is a bolt that just goes all the way through machine screw. So they're not going to pull out anymore. So that solved that problem. You might ask, well, then why is it not square? It's because when I was drilling these out, because of the geometry here, like a millimeter off on drilling these holes equates to a big visible change here. And so these top ones, I just got them a little closer than these bottom ones, and that spelled basically this little crooked looking thing. The good news is it won't get any worse because they can't pull out anymore, right? They're mounted in there. So that was one of the changes that was made. Let's see. So I'm looking at my piece of paper here. Flip you guys back around so you can see me. All right, so just the last thing, probably off kilter there. Last thing to mention are sort of next steps. So of course, Maker Faire, I'll get a really nice driving experience at Maker Faire. I'm going to be driving him a lot, and I'll see how he performs. But I already know of a couple of changes that need to get made, specifically a big change on the wiring. So this happens as you get into, you start actually operating, and then you start, particularly when you start puppeteering, which I haven't really got to yet. But the way I have it wired right now is I have, basically, when you flip the power switch, power goes to the Kyber and the Maestros, and that's about it. And the receiver, because the receiver pulls power from the Kyber system. And then on the FR Sky radio, there is a kill switch. So you flip the kill switch to provide power, and that provides power to everything else. That will work fine for Maker Faire, but in the long run, what that means is if you were parked, let's say you just wanted to park it and just have dummy sitting there, moving his head around and waving, but not driving. With the way I have it set up right now, the drive system would all be still energized. So those four Neo motors would all still have power, which is a drain on the battery when you're not actually needing to move around. So I'm going to rewire. I'm going to segregate so that the power, all the power for the drives is separated from the rest. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm thinking about it. I might actually have a main power switch and then a secondary power switch and then the kill switch on the radio, or just the main power in the kill. I'm not sure about that second switch. I got to think about it. Yeah, that I want to do that particular change. I want to do it now before I get too far down the road. Then one other wiring change. Right now I have no way of reading the voltage of the batteries to know whether they need to be swapped or replaced. And so I know that you can read the voltage of your battery with the receiver and have it display through telemetry on the radio. So I want to add that wiring. I talked to Free Sky Ben, and he told me once how to do it, and then I've actually forgotten. So that's the wiring change. As far as after that, next steps, I'm going to go ahead and put the air bottle and the air piping in, and I was talking to Malcolm, and I was thinking, we were kind of discussing, and I said, I really should think of any other electronic things that need to go in before I start working on body panels and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, you should definitely do that. So the last little, besides the sound system, which needs to be completely wired up, is I want to put in a bubble machine, a bubble blower, because the kids really love them. I don't know if I'm going to put it in the front or the back. I got to think about that. But Malcolm says put it out the back, and then it'll look like he's farting bubbles. And I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, I want to buy one of those and figure out what it's going to take to get that installed. All right, that's everything on my little to-do list here. This will be the end of the episode because I've been rambling for a long time and you're ready to watch a video and stuff. I'm hoping to get somebody to do some nice video of dummy driving around and interacting with guests at Maker Faire. So hopefully episode 25 will have footage of that, and as well as whatever else I get done working on them. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you later.